Hey, Joel.
Yeah?
Hey, I've got a really good idea.
I'm ready for it.
What if we made a podcast? Welcome to Joel and Uriah's Terrible Ideas. I am Uriah.
I'm Joel.
Welcome to the show. It's a three-ring circus of ideas.
I'm not even convinced either of us are one of the ringleaders.
There is no funny
Or
thing.
a ringmaster.
Funny thing. There is no ringmaster. Ringleader seems much because that seems like it's like a gang.
It does kind of seem like that. Yeah. All right. Ringmaster. Yeah. It is ringmaster, isn't it? Not a ringleader. Interesting.
It is ringmaster, but seriously, I like your ringleader thing better. It's like because then it does.
Yeah.
It feels like some kind of like we're doing something illicit.
Yeah, we're not ringmasters. We're maybe ringleaders. There's a circus. There are monkeys. We don't know whose it is. What is it we do here, Uriah?
Joel, we take turns every week giving each other an idea for a thing or place that should exist but doesn't for reasons that are still unknown to me. Nothing that we've said so far shouldn't happen. Everything that we've said so far is great.
A lot of these ideas really, like, someone is going to listen someday and they're going to be like, we should do that. And you know what? More power to you.
Yeah.
We can't.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Uriah and I cannot.
For a variety of reasons, we're not able. The problem is that we've split up our power. We're not close enough to combine our forces.
Yep. Our rings cannot combine to create Captain Planet.
Perfect. A+ analogy.
Thank you. So Uriah, it's your turn. You've got an idea today, don't you?
Hey, I want to open up a school.
Okay.
I want to open up an educational facility for students to learn things.
That's it.
That's the idea. That's
the idea. That is okay.
I think we need to figure out what some of the courses are. We need to figure out.
Okay.
We probably need to figure out like a demographic, right? Like, are we going to do a preschool, an elementary school, a college?
All right.
That kind of stuff.
Preschool would be hilarious.
I think
Trying to do like a legit. Yeah. I don't want to do that.
Preschool. If I ran a preschool, it would literally just be like watching the Lego Movie and eating popcorn all day, and that's it.
Although I could envision having a preschool be really fun, just to like pull pranks on the parents through the preschoolers by teaching them things throughout the day and then sending them home. Here, kids, here's how you use the child-proof lighters. That seems like a bad idea. That's legitimately terrible.
Yeah, that's like an actually dangerous idea, but like some funnier ones, right, would be like illicit vocabulary lessons.
Yeah. So, Uriah, if you were to teach something, what would you be qualified to teach? This isn't necessarily what we're gonna do.
Sure.
But let's just start. Let's get stuff flowing.
Things that I'm qualified to teach.
What are you qualified to teach, Uriah?
After a year of my daughter being in kindergarten on Zoom, I feel confident saying that the answer to that question is absolutely nothing.
No. You could. All right, I'm just speaking to your life, Uriah. I see that there is something in you that you could 100% teach.
Go
on. History.
You can't even finish this sentence.
Because I built it up, and as I was building it up, I was like, I hope he's not taking any of this seriously because I'm about to. I'm not going to be mean either. Like, you could legitimately teach this. I just want you to know that your worth is not found here. You could teach history of internet memedom.
Oh, see, even there, I feel like it would be imposter syndrome, right? No, your meme does such a good job, especially early.
It does, you've done such a good job knowing, like, you are a GIF and meme master. You could totally teach a history of internet memedom.
Maybe I could.
Oh, someday we need to create a meme.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, write that down.
Meme. All right. Anyway,
I mean, I feel like I could give somebody a crash course in how to over prepare and under deliver.
Okay. I feel fairly confident in that as well. I feel like
what are you going to teach?
I don't know that I could teach this, but I feel like I am a master at underestimating how long things are going to take in real life.
Yeah.
Anytime I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to go work on this project, or I'm going to go do this. And I'm like, it should take about this long. And my wife always laughs at me. And I haven't learned yet to like add like 20% or 25% to my time.
Right.
But I don't know. That's not even something that's teachable. That's just a like given, like I was born with that skill.
I mean, I feel like I could learn a thing or two from you about woodworking.
Oh yes, I love to do woodworking, and I would love to teach people that kind of stuff. In fact, I was doing that earlier today with a couple kids in my youth group. We were building a carpet ball table.
You're kind of like a bargain basement Ron Swanson.
Yeah, I am. Yes, I am. And I mean, earlier this week, I made a picnic table. That was a lot of fun, actually.
It's impressive. It's also flaunting your exorbitant wealth in this economy.
I'm an assistant pastor at a church. I'm not making tons of money.
But yet you were able to afford $1,000 worth of wood to build a picnic table. I've seen the wood market right now. I know what it's like.
I definitely weighed all the options. I was like, man, I don't want to do that this year, but what we've got is not going to hold up through a year.
Yeah.
And so we just had to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
I didn't like it, but I did it.
So anyways, we need a school because let me tell you exactly why. We need a school for people like me.
Okay.
You and I had very different academic experiences.
Yes. Yes. How many majors did you work your way through?
I honestly lost count, and it would not be funny for me to sit here and count them.
And you ended up graduating with what?
Major in general studies with a focus on communication. And then a minor in creative arts, parentheses, acting performance.
Yes. And at one point in time, weren't you like looking towards science education?
Oh gosh, science education, English education.
Yeah.
Oh no, gosh, what were the other ones?
Okay, for real though, you could actually teach a class on photography. You've taught me so much about photography and videography. Like that is something you legitimately could teach.
That's very kind of you to say. But man, like all these, you keep saying these things that I'm good at. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if I could do that.
I totally think you could.
The problem is that anyways, that's a whole nother, I'm not a good teacher. I'm okay at things, but I'm really bad at like instructing other people and how to also be okay at other things. So that's even just my undergrad, right? Like,
right.
Like right. I barely got that degree after like 8 years of trying.
So that's Uriah's education direction. I, however, did a 4-year degree, maintained the same major all the way through of biblical literature, and then went on for a master's degree, did that within 3 years, and loved it, and eventually will likely go back for a doctorate at some point in time, although my wife has told me I'm not allowed to until I have my student loans paid off, so that's never.
In this economy?
We'll see what happens.
We all know that those seminary doctorates are really lucrative.
Right. I wouldn't be doing this for like increased pay. I'd be doing this just because I love learning, and that's just where I thrive. So
there's already lots of colleges and universities and high schools for people like you. There's very few for people like me.
So yeah, exactly. So
we need a more experiential, I think. We need a more experiential learning experience.
Would you want to go toward like the how to do real life, or like how to adulting type of a school?
Yeah, I think that, honest to goodness, I think there's a lot like an adult 101 class in high school would go a long way.
I think it would.
And I think it would be much more that kind of class in like a freshman year of college would have been much more useful than what we had to go through for our freshman year.
All right, so I think an adulting 101 would be a great, like, at this point we're not even talking about making a school. We're talking about making one class to like give to schools, and here's the curriculum.
Oh, no. We need to make a whole school. I don't want to get too in the weeds on any one particular class. I think that we come up with what the courses would be, and we'll let our
would you want to do you want just one class to be the adulting 101, or do you want the whole school to be about?
I think one class. I think you have one course.
Okay,
it's adulting 101, and I think that's your.
All right,
you have to.
All right.
That's the equivalent of like the Indiana Core 40, right? Like you have to get that to get out of school.
When I was thinking of an adulting 101 type school, I was thinking like a whole class on like car mechanics just to know the basics of how to do regular maintenance on your car, because that's not necessarily something that people just know.
Sure. I think auto shop makes sense as a class.
Right. And I realize some high schools have that, but it's usually an elective. But I mean,
it's an elective.
Everyone drives a car. Well, at least where I grew up, everyone does.
Yeah, we've all got. Well, welcome to America. It's especially where we're from, fairly rural spaces. So
right.
Definitely, it's weird. It would be really weird if you didn't have a car.
Yeah, but I kept interrupting you. What were you trying to say?
No, I think we're kind of touching on some like high school level stuff. So I think we've determined our demographic.
Right.
I think we need to focus on high school courses.
High school, upper high school, or like even out of high school.
Even junior high and high school, I think that's probably a...
Yeah, that's true. Okay,
I think if we focus ourselves on there, you have a lot of experience working with teens.
I do work with teens.
I have less experience working with teens, but I've done it. We were both teenagers, believe it or not. So things that...
you say that in the past tense, as if we aren't... Okay. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we still act like. Let's be fair.
I mean, fair. Totally fair. So we need more experiential classes to make this work, right? Because, like, obviously, book learning goes a long way for a lot of folks, but I am not folks in this situation.
Yeah, so a school that teaches by doing.
Yeah. So I think that there's right, like you still need to hit all of your basics. People need to understand history, they need to understand math, they need to understand science, right? I think those courses can be the same, but I think how we go about sort of how we get there in different ways, I think is possible, right? Like learning math through music.
Okay.
You hear welcome to algebra. Here's a guitar.
All right.
I don't know how to
have. Do you have more than that?
It's just Joel. This is not Joel Uriah's terrible concepts fleshed out in exceptional detail.
If you want me to really try, I could see how doing like quarter notes and eighth notes and 16th notes can help you understand fractions and how they interplay with one another, making up a whole.
I think maybe it's a stretch to say algebra. I just know that that's what when I think about high school math, it's algebra for me. So
well, if you go to high. Okay, we can still do high school math, but what if that was... I can see high school math in woodworking. I mean, you've got to know your angles, your geometry, you got to know your measurements, how things work together. You're learning all your measurements. You can build something in US standard, you can build something in metric. And you're learning all of that together, and maybe the plans are incomplete and you have to figure out, okay, how long does this piece need to be? Now you're doing equations to not just pulling out the tape measure. If you're building like let's just say a picnic table, because I built one of those earlier this week. If you know how long the boards are, where you're placing the frame for the seats, and you have to have a cross beam underneath that goes from the bottom of the frame or halfway up the frame to the center of the table, but you don't know how long that's supposed to be. Now you've got to do a little bit of geometry to figure out the length of that and fill in the plans. You can see how they actually play into real life a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's very good and very practical.
Did I think through that too much?
I think you probably thought through it an appropriate amount for somebody who actually wants to teach somebody geometry.
Unfortunately, a lot of geometry teachers use the book, and the book is not always that great at telling you how these concepts will play into real life.
Oh, nonsense. I love geometry, and I think I learned a lot, and I think that I use it as in like video editing and graphic design way more than I ever thought I would.
Really?
Oh yeah, constantly. I'm always doing math. I'm doing math. I'm doing geometry and math, like trying to figure out how to make shapes exactly perfect. And it's
all apologies to Mrs. Place, but my geometry teacher was not that great. She was a stand in the front, read what the book said to you,
sure,
and then tell you to do the work, and she sat down in the back and played a game on her computer.
Oh.
That was my geometry class experience.
I had a history teacher like that.
My history teacher was really interesting. He enjoyed what he did. Created scenarios for us to actually learn what happened rather than reading it in a book, which I can't tell you what else we learned that year, except that because we actually did it, worked through it, instead of just reading it.
So
out of a book.
That's like proof of concept for me, right? Like this is very validating for me to hear that like now I understand like this is the thing that you remembered. So what if all education was that way?
Right. What else? English. It's
literally just sitting around and talking. The poetry the poetry section of that is you redecorate the class as a cafe, and you have people sitting around with bongos. You have proper beatniks.
You bring in the local poets.
You become the local poets.
All right. So what else could be taught more experientially that
I think as part of your civics education, you need like proper debate, like structured Lincoln Douglas debate, like how to do research, how to refute a point, the difference between various fallacies, right? So that you're not just constantly attacking the other person. You're attacking their arguments. Hey, let's look at the internet since like 2010. I think we could all use a little more debate practice.
That's a little generous. That saying it started in 2010.
Well, for me at least, that's when it really took a turn. That's when it seemed like social media went from being a fun, super happy fun time thing to
everybody just getting angry at each other.
Yeah. Anyways, look for us on Facebook and Twitter.
We're there, not getting angry at people. That would be great. And then I feel like in economics, you said civics was made me think of economics because our civics teacher and our economics teacher was the same person in my high school.
Appropriate.
In economics, I learned more from participating in like a stock market investment style game and how everything works than I did in somebody sitting there and telling me what the stock market was and how everything worked. So, I mean, one of the things he required is that we had to put some of our fake money in a bank, some of our fake money in the stock market, and try out different things. So we learned how all of them worked, their strengths and their weaknesses for the period of time. So that was, that's something schools already do, but I feel like that could be well integrated and done even over a longer period of time rather than just like one semester.
Yeah, we did the stock market game for a semester. All it taught me was that I'm bad at making decisions and that I would lose all of my money on the stock market. So, although right now the kind of investing that I was doing at the time, like when we played that game, is the kind that's really making waves. You know, like GameStop and AMC right now.
So you wanted to invest in things you liked,
not things that would make me money. Yes,
not necessarily things that may. Okay, got it.
I see that. I do things with my heart, not my head, Joel. That's the problem.
What else did you feel unprepared for going out into life? Besides saying all of it.
Okay, I've got to find a clever way to say lots of things. You know, this is gonna sound weird, but like I never learned how to learn, right? Like I was in elementary school, I was in the like gifted program, like I was in the like smart kid classes. And then by the time I got to junior high, I got out of them because I was so bad at school and like the act of doing school that I just didn't do it. I just stopped doing it. And I think that to some degree that has hurt me over my life because like I don't like to read very much. So I kind of don't read if it's not a comic book. I think that like that desire to like figure things out academically doesn't really exist in me. So there's got to be a way to instill that in other people.
Got it. So teaching, that is it's like a meta podcast.
Yeah,
it's a meta teaching people how to be teachable.
And here's how I think you do it.
Okay.
I think you set people up in pairs and you do, you're doing vocabulary flashcards or whatever. You, every time somebody gets one right, you get candy. And every time you get one wrong, you get electrocuted. And so, so eventually
I see problems.
I don't know why. You're right. We should not be giving this much candy to children. You are completely right.
Exactly.
About that.
I mean, the candy is the bad choice there. We should definitely give them healthier options because we're also trying to teach people how to make healthier choices in this school because there's probably a health teacher somewhere.
Food. Hey, I know we're about to make a goof, but like food like how to think critically about food.
Yeah.
Not just like cooking classes. Like my cooking classes were basically chemistry and follow recipes, but like how to like plan a meal. Anyways, sorry, get back to your good joke.
Yes. I was thinking that whatever shop class we have could definitely make those electrocution devices safe for us. New ones every time. Yeah. I'm good on that. No, that's an excellent.
Every student has their own custom built, right? Like the seniors in the electronics class build the devices for the incoming 8th graders, and so everybody gets their own, and they keep that for the rest of their educational experience at.
Yes, everybody gets a new one. I love it. And you know what? You don't like the amount of electricity it shocks into you? Learn how it works. reduce the voltage.
There it is.
It's a way to learn about electricity.
Yep.
Amps, volts, and watts.
You can learn about electronics that way too. There you go.
Right. I love it. Make it overly complicated when you're a senior for the next person.
I've set a trap for this 8th grader.
If you touch the right solenoid, it all explodes.
No. No explosions, Joel. Come on. What do you think I am, cruel?
You're right. We shouldn't do that. That's just over the top.
No, definitely.
Going back to what you're saying, not just teaching people how to cook food, but also teaching them how to plan meals.
Yeah.
Yes. How to excellent idea. How to budget for planning meals.
And how to be smart about your trips to the grocery store, right?
So you don't have to go every day.
Right.
Or maybe you do.
Well, it depends on your situation. It depends on how big your fridge is. It depends on how many people you have to feed. There's a lot of that, and that's all stuff that like you work that in.
There are plenty of variables there.
Right.
I mean, definitely people who live in more of a city environment, the apartments are smaller, the refrigerators end up being smaller. You end up having to go to the store more often.
Right.
Definitely that's just how life works. Whereas people who live out in the middle of Nebraska, you only want to go to Walmart once every 2 weeks because it's an hour and a half away.
Right.
And so you buy in bulk and you buy frozens and you have a spare freezer or two. So yeah, how that all works together. I mean, give people different scenarios for planning those meals, figure out how to plan those meals. Yeah, I could see that definitely being something that would be helpful in the long run.
Yeah. I'm realizing that our school very much is turning into adulting 101.
Yeah,
just sort of by accident.
You know what you and I would really be great at teaching?
Oh.
And you and I would be the teachers of this class at school.
Okay.
We would co-teach it. It would be required for every either junior or senior level. I haven't decided which yet. Here's what we would teach. You and I would teach about how to think creatively and come up with ideas in order to solve problems that haven't yet arisen. You and I would help people come up with their own terrible ideas, but actually execute them.
It's
what do you think?
It's great. It's entrepreneurship with more oomph.
Yes, it basically is. It's just like, okay, have you ever had an idea that you think would be excellent? What is it? And we'll help you figure out how that works. Mm-hmm. And maybe we don't help you figure out how it works. We ask you all the right questions so you learn how to not just come up with an idea, but move it forward.
Right.
We'll be the naysayers. We'll be the people sitting back being like, that's a terrible idea.
We're is it Waldorf and Statler from the Muppets just sitting up in the balcony?
Yes. And our room has to have a balcony.
Yes. Yep.
And so we get to sit there and be like, anyway. No, but I mean, that even is part of growing up, becoming a functioning adult in this world, is because it is a part of life to come up with, like, try to come up with your own ideas of, I think I need to do this and I need to do it this way. Mm-hmm. That becomes part of finding a job, becomes part of a lot of different kinds of jobs.
Right.
Just owning a home. You're experiencing that process right now, owning a home. How many terrible ideas have you had that you're like, I think we actually need to do this, and you changed a couple things just to make your home a little bit more convenient or helpful for yourself.
Right. Yeah, we've definitely had to do that, and it's good, right? Like I have, my dad built houses, so I know just enough about like construction to be dangerous. But it's good, if you have some of those, like if I don't know how to build a lot of stuff, but I know how to put things together, and I know how to think about it in a way that is, will get me closer to my end goal.
I think the class would be less about the ideas and more about learning how to think creatively to solve problems.
Right.
Which is, at that point, we're just throwing really weird scenarios at people and saying, all right, come up with an idea.
I don't know how...
Make it happen.
I don't know how we educate children to get to this point, but the final for that class is I present a problem to a student and they present a solution. And then while they're in the middle of their solution, you present an obstacle. And then they get around
like a tomato to the face.
No.
No, not okay. Okay. I was imagining you're giving them the problem, they're giving solutions, and I'm sitting back throwing things at them as they're trying to come up with solutions. It's like the real final here is that you've got a real problem and you have to come up with a creative solution to overcome the real problem while you're coming up with a solution to the fake problem. No. But we're not doing that?
No, that's very good, though. That was not my idea. I was just thinking it's like recording an episode of this, right? Like we present an idea, right? Present an idea, come up with a solution. There's an obstacle, and then we just sort of like yes and 4 to 5 obstacles, and if they can get around all of them, they get a full.
You pass.
You pass. And I think for every obstacle they get hung up on or they give up on or whatever, that's, you knock off a letter grade for that. And there it is.
Until you get to F.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Yeah, I think that would be a great final way to end the class, end their school career at whatever Joel and Uriah's terrible school.
That is such a good name for a school.
Joel and Uriah's terrible school.
I can just see the ads for it now. Are your kids bad at school? They need to be terrible. Come to Joel and Uriah's terrible school.
Come to Joel and Uriah's terrible school. And then there's glowing recommendations. It was the greatest experience I've ever had. Said Nathan from Marion, Indiana.
What's our mascot, Joel?
Oh, I don't know why this just came up in my head. But I was just imagining a crescent moon with a face and a body. I don't know why, but you said a mascot, and that's what popped in my head.
That's good. I was thinking of a broken light bulb.
Oh, I like that even better. Broken light bulb, terrible ideas. I like that one better. It's definitely a broken light bulb.
It's
named Eddie.
Eddie the bulb. I like Eddie. I was gonna say Bulby the bulb, but
I said Eddie because Edison.
Yes. No. Okay. But
see.
Okay.
I went a layer deep.
Okay, then if we're going to do that, though, it can't be Eddie. It's got to be Nicky, because Tesla did way more, way better, and Edison was just a better businessman.
I don't actually care what he's named. That's fine.
Oh.
Nicky.
Okay, so here's a really important question we have for you listeners.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I'm not a listener.
No, well, you could. I mean, you could be. Joel,
I do listen.
You should listen to the. Hey, Joel, I don't know. I want to tell you about this podcast, and I think you're going to really like it.
Yeah.
It's called Joel and Uriah's Terrible Ideas. You should check it out sometime.
You know what? I think I might.
Good. Now that you're a listener, you qualify for this.
Oh, good. All right. What are you going to say?
Listener, would you send your kids to our school? Would you entrust us? Would you? The fact that I can't even get through this in a straight face is not a good sign. But would you send your kids to the school? And if you wouldn't, is it because you don't have kids, or is it because you think our school's missing something? And if it's you think our school's missing something, tell us what it is that we're missing. Because again,
reach out to us. Any of our locations, you'll hear them at the outro.
Yeah, we're really excited to hear from you on this one. I think there's a lot of good stuff that we're not catching because again, our experiences are fairly narrow.
If you've noticed that you've learned something through experience in life, and you think that would be another thing you could add to this school, let us know. We'd love to hear about it and give you a shout out for the idea you've come up with.
I think that's a great place to end it, Joel. Thanks a lot, everybody, for listening to Joel and Uriah's Terrible Ideas. I am Uriah.
And I'm Joel, and you, listener, have a great day. Our intro and outro music is Kingdom by Phantom Sage. You can find them on SoundCloud and no copyright sound.
You can find us on Google Podcasts or Apple Podcasts and maybe others. I don't know. Check back later.
Hey, if you've got a thought and you want to share it with us, you can email us at joelanduriah@gmail.com.
Follow us on Twitter at Joel and Uriah, or like us on Facebook, Joel and Uriah. Any other dead social media platform, we're probably there too.
And thank you for listening to Joel and Uriah's Terrible Ideas.
We're the ones standing in the sky. We're taking upon our own allies. For all of the rules we abide by. For us to say our final goodbye.
Good evening. No, that's I'm floundering. Bye.